Papa tries to keep things tidy, Belle explained, as she led Annie upstairs. But he says a man's touch isn't the same as a woman's. Belle's room was a splash of color in the otherwise practical house. A patchwork quilt covered the bed and childish drawings adorned the walls. The adjacent room, presumably Rose's, was simply furnished with a narrow bed, a chest of drawers, and a small writing desk beneath a window overlooking the valley. "This was Mama's sewing room," Belle said, matter-of-factly. "Papa says you can make it your own now." Annie set her small bundle on the bed, overcome by the realization that she had a private space, something she hadn't experienced since her father's death. "Did your mama make your quilt?" Annie asked, desperate to change the subject before tears betrayed her. Belle nodded before she got sick. "Papa says I look just like her. I'm sure she was very beautiful then," Annie said gently. "Do you know how to make quilts?" Belle asked, her expression hopeful. "I do. My grandmother taught me. Could you teach me?" Papa tried, but he kept pricking his fingers and saying words I'm not supposed to repeat. Annie laughed, despite herself. "I'd be happy to teach you, Belle." Later that evening, after a simple supper of beans, cornbread, and surprisingly tender beef, Annie stood at the kitchen basin washing dishes while William sat at the table reviewing what appeared to be ledgers by lamplight. Belle had been tucked into bed after extracting a promise from Annie to tell her a story the following night. "You don't have to be afraid here," William said, suddenly breaking the comfortable silence. Annie turned, drying her hands on her apron. "Pardon, you flinch whenever I move too quickly." He observed his voice, matter-of-fact rather than accusatory. "I want you to know that no harm will come to you in this house." Annie felt heat rise to her cheeks. "My father was not a gentleman, especially when he'd been drinking," she admitted. "Old habits are hard to break." William nodded, understanding in his eyes. "We all carry our ghosts." "Miss Boone." "Annie," she corrected him. "If I'm to live here, I'd prefer to be called by my name." "Annie," he repeated, and something in the way he said it made her heart flutter strangely. "You should know that while the circumstances of your arrival here were unconventional, you are not property. You'll receive fair wages for your work, and if you wish to leave when you've saved enough, I won't stop you." The highness of his words nearly undid her. "Why did you do it?" She asked the question that had been burning inside her all day. Why buy a woman's contract with a single gold coin? William closed his ledger and met her gaze directly. "Because I saw something in your eyes that reminded me of myself. After Cassidy, my wife, died. Something that said you weren't beaten yet, just cornered." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "No one deserves to be sold like cattle, Annie. Especially not someone with pride still burning in their eyes." In that moment, Annie understood that while her life had indeed been purchased for one gold coin, the price had never been the measure of her worth to William Colt. By the time autumn gave way to winter, Annie had fallen into the rhythm of life at the Colt Ranch. Each morning she rose before dawn to kindle the fire and prepare breakfast. Before William and Clint headed out to tend the cattle, Belle would help set the table, chattering about her dreams or the books her father read to her each night.